What's going on, people? Back at it once again. Child support, 7 kids. I'm gonna make a comment on this video I saw. I'm gonna leave a link in the description. There's a court show. A couple faced the judge and tried to resolve a problem. I believe in a child support court in Texas. So the mother filed against the father of a child. Mother is claiming that she's raising a child by herself, providing support, financial support alone because the father's not working and he's not helping, not providing anything for the child. Not providing any monies, he's unemployed. So when it was his turn to speak in front of the judge, just from watching this guy and his mannerisms and how he was kind of like squirming in his chair, in the seat where he was sitting, he began to speak, and it was just kind of crazy because he says to the judge that, he takes care of the child whenever he gets a chance to, right? Almost implying whenever he's allowed to take care of the child. But the part about it that was was weird is when he mentioned, he doesn't work. He was working for the post office for about 2 months. Once they started taking child support monies away from the check, in other words, garnishing his check, to pay towards the child support, he quit his job and is now a budding rap artist who's selling CDs of his work, his music, out of a trunk. So the judge asks him, well, how much are you making from doing that? And he's, he thinks of a number and comes up with $3 a CD, and he sells about 20 CDs. He's telling the judge that, this is what he's telling the judge to imply as if he's trying. The judge does her calculations and goes by, Texas state law, and she calculates her figures according to the minimum wage that Texas, the minimum wage that's in Texas, which is about $7.25 an hour. She does the math and tells him, initially that he's required to pay $200 a month. And he said, $200 a month? And then he says he has 7 other kids or something to that effect. I'm going to leave a link in the description. 7 kids. And, men, a lot of fathers complain about child support with good reason. The caveat is they'll have good reason to complain about child support. I'm not saying that men don't have good reason, or fathers do not have good reason to complain about child support. But when you have individuals like this gentleman who's on this show talking about how he's selling his music out of the trunk of his car, earning $3 a copy per CD of his music, and he can barely pay $200 a month for one child, much less 7 other kids. You have to wonder, what is your goal as a man? What's the goal in life? Where are the priorities? What is important to you? What's important? Because the judge then asks him, or asks her, how much does it cost to feed the child? How much does it cost her per month to feed the child? And she said $500 a month. So the judge looks at him and says, do you know it costs more than $3, more than the $3 a day to pay for your child to eat, your son to eat? He says, well, when he has his son, he takes his son to McDonald's and he'll buy a $6 meal and keep the $10 to himself. It was sad, man. It was just sad. It was sad to hear his account. He had no real defense in respect to the amount of he was supposed to pay initially. He asked the judge, if the $200 could be broken down over a 6-month period. So she reviewed the information again and crunched the numbers again and brought the numbers down to $145 a month. And you could tell he was still not pleased with that. If you have children, children become the focal point. Children become the priority in lives. And you have multiple children. This guy has several kids. You're talking about 7 kids, upwards of 7 that he mentioned, and it's sad because it's the kids that get affected, that get negatively affected by the adults in these cases. Naturally, if a mother is taking care of her child by herself and you have an able-bodied man who's unwilling to do that, and I say able-bodied because in some cases, people fall through different types of hardship, but this man seems like he can work. He's not, physically incapable or disabled. So there's something that, he can do his part, at least financially. He's not even doing that. It's, and this is going to be a topic for another video, but I just thought about something. I'm not going to bring it up now. I'm going to speak on it in another video. But where is your conscience when you know that you have children out here and they're not receiving support from you? And support is more than about money. It's about just your presence alone can have a positive impact. Your nurturing, your support, your upbringing, your level of showing them how to do things and teaching them, protecting them. All of these things have a positive impact on your children. But when you're absent and you don't offer these things and they don't know where you are and you don't make a valiant effort or attempt to take care of your children, what do you think happens? There are consequences for everything that we do. And I'm saying this to the fathers out here who just choose to just take care of their own issues and forget about the responsibilities of raising or rearing or co-parenting as far as taking care of their children. You have to wake up. You have to wake up. The courts are not the court system and child support system is not designed to raise your children. Human beings are. By the time you get to court, if you don't have a real good reason, for example, of why you're not doing X, Y, and Z, you will be forced and ordered to do something that you may not like, as far as even give monetary support. you may not be able to afford, but whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? You have to move in a way where you're being responsible and you're prioritizing what is important in your life. Because this continues. I'm gonna leave a link in the description, and you let me know what you think. You let me know what you think, because there are so many different examples about how, you know, mothers take their children's father to court, you know, asking for child support because they're getting absolutely nothing. You know, of course you have problems in relationships where parents don't get along, you know, but then in some cases court is used to just resolve the issue, because parents could fight with each other and use the child as a weapon to hurt one another, or use something as a scapegoat. More than often than not, is the child who gets caught in the middle to be used as a weapon to hurt the other person. And it's sad, and it ends up in court to hit the other person in the pocket. You know, once you hit them in the pocket, it becomes, then you now have parents who have animosity towards each other. They're angry, they don't want to talk to one another, and you're forced now to have this seed planted of hatred that grows and it festers, and it becomes this ugly thing that the child has to now be affected by. When, I don't know if there's an answer to it, because you're talking about human beings and things are complicated. But let me know what you think about the video. And, you know, that's it. But if you want to look forward to the next topic I'm going to talk about, just subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, and we'll keep moving forward. All right. As always, be well. Take care of yourself. All right. And stay focused. Stay focused, because it's something that we have to really understand. We have to really understand what this is about. And I'm sorry for rambling, but it's a sensitive topic. It really is a sensitive topic. You know, there are men out here who are taking care of their responsibilities, but then you have some who just choose not to. You could say everything they want to say, everything they want to say, right? You could paint a great picture with your words, but your actions say something else. This man has 7 kids. He's on TV talking about how he sells $3 CDs because he's a budding rap artist. No disrespect to hip hop. I love hip hop. Love good music. But you have a child. He's saying he's making $3 a CD and selling 20 CDs on average. Come on, do the math. You could barely live on that for yourself, but you have 7 kids. And in this case, he was in court for one child. For one child. So, I don't know. I know of another situation, and this is going to be another video too, where, you know, women, they do get upset, and they go to court and they demand an extreme amount of money from the father, and that money is well into the hundreds for working class people, even thousands in some cases. But for the hundreds, for a blue collar worker, I know someone, he's a former associate of mine years ago, who told me that he was paying he had 5 kids, he has 5 kids, and he was paying about $1,000 a month just for that one child, and has been paying that for years, and he has his own family. Because he doesn't get along with the child's mother, and they've had a contentious relationship for a very long time, and he's gainfully employed, you know, listen, he's obligated to do it, and he has to do it. He has to do it, or else face legal consequences. Face legal consequences. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know. And then in other cases where, you know, like this gentleman, he was working for the post office. He was working for the post office. The minute that he saw his check get garnished, he left the job. So again, what is the goal here? What is the goal? Are you, because your kids, you have 7 kids out here. So when the mothers seek to attempt to get you to help them financially, if you're working and you find out your money's getting, taken away from you and for child support, you get upset and scared and you just give up and leave your job. You know how hard it is to find jobs, irrespective of what is being told in the media and the world and finances, well, economics, that job market is on the rise or whatever. It's still hard when you're at the bottom. It's still hard when you're at the bottom. When we're in the real world, real world people have a hard time. Some of us have a hard time of obtaining gainful employment. And when you find something like the U.S. Post Office, okay, you're in a good footing. You're setting yourself up for something positive and stable, versus opening your car trunk, which is nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur, but you have kids. You're opening your car trunk and you're selling CDs, and you're not even guaranteed to sell 20 because it's just you and the money that comes back. I mean, do you have health insurance? That's another thing. With the health insurance, the mother in Texas, this couple that I'm talking about in the video, mother asked the judge because she has to pay for health insurance, can she get that money back for the child? And the judge honored it, because in Texas, the state law, I guess, from what the judge was saying is, when it comes to child support, if the father's absent, he's required to pay child support, and he's also required to pay health insurance or help pay health insurance for the child. So that's even more another obligation he has attached to the regular child support. Crazy. Well, listen, people, I'm off this for now. Again, that's me rambling for a while. Let me know what you think, and we'll get it in. Okay, be well.